Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, True and Beautiful Rabbit Hole, Lore and Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. Over the past couple of days, I've been binge watching a lot of Bojack Horseman retrospectives, a lot of reactions, a lot of YouTube content regarding this series, and I really felt this burning need to kind of talk about a show I've never watched. Again, there's a reason I've never watched the show. It looks like garbage. It's not funny. It's not insightful. I know how it ends. I know most of the plot twists. I know the general concept of the show. Not interested in seeing it. I am sick to death of being told that certain products, stuff like Game of Thrones, stuff like The Witcher Netflix series, stuff like House of Dragons, The Mandalorian, Star Trek Picard, Discovery, every single one of these extremely terrible just TV productions that people swear for the first season or so, oh, this is so good, this is the best thing I've ever watched, it's the best thing I'll ever watch, this is gonna go down in history as the best video game adaptation ever. Last of Us, HBO. They do that for the entire run of the series, and at the end they're just it wasn't that good. Every single time. I'm done. Okay? 100% done with this. I don't respect you. I don't care about your opinions. And I will never again try to even get into anything like this. Whether it's The Boys or some Netflix original anime, never again. Okay? I am completely done. Okay? I don't respect your opinions. I have too many things to watch, read, and play to care about what you supposedly are watching. Okay? Your opinion is trash. Okay? I do not care what you think whatsoever. And a big reason for that is just Bojack Horseman and its popularity always baffled me, right? Even just looking at this show, it looks unappealing with its terrible Cal Arts art style with its disgusting character models, and it's just just really poorly thought out sense of humor and just mean-spirited delusional take on reality, right? I was not interested in the concept of Bojack Horseman from the onset, but so many people tried to tell me oh man, no, this show is one of the best ever made. It's such an accurate depiction of depression and the human condition, and I feel more strongly with I connect more strongly with a cartoon horse than I do with real people. Now, that says more about you than it does about the show, honestly, and I think that's kind of what my feelings on Bojack kind of boil down to this point. If you feel sorry for Bojack, if you relate to him, if you feel sympathetic for him in any way at any point in the series, you are just like him. That is the phenomenon I've been noticing more and more as I see what Bojack fans are actually like. How many of them are as narcissistic, as self-centered, as stupid as he is. It's so easy for someone like Bojack to fix their problems. All they have to do is put in the effort and fix them, right? But that never happens, right? And we're seriously supposed to believe that this is some natural organic thing, that this super celebrity has all these crippling addictions and somehow it's not made public. And so my point is that Bojack Horseman has this really disgusting philosophy, something that I think sums up the entire show, something that I specifically wanted to call out, something that I really, really want to address as being I think the root cause of everything wrong with society today and why people refuse to take responsibility for their actions and what's going on around them. And that is this idea that you are born broken. Oh man, Bojack Horseman, he's had such an abusive childhood. His parents didn't love him, so that's why he acts the way he does and why his life is so shit and why he doesn't know how to connect with other people. But oh man, his situation is so terrible, there's no getting out of it. No! Absolutely not. I know people who are in worse situations than Bojack Horseman. I know people who have to deal with situations like that every day, who still continue to do that every day. And not a single one of them will ever end up like that. It's not realistic. It is disgusting that they try and portray this as being some insurmountable challenge that nobody could possibly deal with. Like, Bojack's problems are entirely his fault. It has nothing to do with his mother. It has nothing to do with, like, the people around him. If anything, they're enablers. It has nothing to do with, like, his background in TV, his, like, relationship with his friend Herb. It has nothing to do with, like, his life after the show. It's entirely because of his own actions. It has nothing to do with what happened with him as a child. It is entirely because he refuses to take responsibility for anything, and it's entirely because, like, I was born broken. I was born this way. Fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Not only to the character, not only to, like, the people surrounding him who are enabling his behavior, trying to make money off of him, and are honestly just as terrible as he is, but to the creators as well. It isn't that hard to get over depression. I know this goes against, like, every far left conspiracy over the past couple of years that, like, oh, it's hard to live. No, you just work. You do stuff. You fix your problems. You don't do what Bojack does and just expect everyone to just worship you for existing, right? That's stupid. The show is stupid. And the fact that, like, so many people relate to this and think it's, like, some deep, insightful commentary on society is honestly disgusting to me. I genuinely think, I've said this about TV in general, like, if you watch TV, you are not a good person, right? There's so many other things you could be doing with your life. You could be, like, you know, acquiring new skills, spending time with your family, doing things, right? But instead, you're, like, watching Bojack Horseman. You're trying to convince yourself that this idea that your life could be so bad that you can't possibly do anything to fix your problems is realistic or in any way, like, reflective of their own personalities or, like, their own situations when it's not. Like, Bojack and other people like him are entirely the result of their own actions. And I despise the fact that so many people cannot seem to face this simple fact. The entire show is essentially about Bojack being able to take responsibility for anything. And the entire show really desperately tries, like, avoiding talking about the actual problems. You know, his actual inability to, like, really commit to a goal and really, like, have an idea of, like, what he actually wants in his life, right? Like, there's no real turning point. And the entire concept of the show is that, like, this is a natural state for someone to be in, that this is normal, that, like, people in Hollywood go through this all the time. But, you know, all the characters go through this to some extent. But it's really not true. Like, for all of these characters, every single one of them, not just Bojack, like, everything wrong going on with their lives is due to their own problems, their own personal decisions, and their own refusal to really do anything about their problems. And, yeah, again, it isn't because of society. It isn't some conspiracy against you. It isn't because of, like, the things that happened to you when you were growing up. It is entirely a result of your own actions, you know? And, okay, that's why I hate the show, okay? That is, like, the fundamental reason why I believe that if you like Bojack Horseman, you are not a good person. You are doing yourself a disservice. You are doing people who have, like, serious depression a disservice. You are pretending that these people are not capable of the things that they should be capable of. You know, you are enabling them. You are a terrible person if you like Bojack Horseman. That is my genuine belief. And again, that's not even getting into, like, the actual quality of the show itself with, like, the terrible gags, the disgusting sense of humor, like, just the general behavior of the characters, the disgusting depiction of certain groups and relationships and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to, like, the propaganda aspect of the show. But, like, I think this is kind of the crux of it. Something that, like, I think is ruining society. The main thing that's causing all of these problems that people just don't want to admit is that they themselves are the problem. They themselves are responsible for their personal happiness. And these people will try and tell you that, like, oh, I'm like Bojack. That's like that's a depressing thought. Who else is going to care about your happiness other than yourself, right? If you're not happy, that's your problem. You fix it. right? People aren't going to go out and help you, but they're also not going to fuck you over either, right? It's not that big of a deal. So if you're like Bojack, don't be like Bojack, okay? Like, if you watch the show, don't watch the show. It's garbage. Like, if you watch TV, stop watching TV. Buy one of my books instead. You won't regret it. There's so much about this show that's so objectively terrible. I really wish that more individuals came out and spoke out against it, because I genuinely think this is one of the worst shows I've been made aware of in quite a long time. It is absolutely disgusting.